Hey, welcome to Riley's Library's 12 Days of Bookmas. Today I'm going over my physical TBR. I have pulled my book card out and we're going to go through all of the books that I own that I have not read. Okay, I'm actually going to start on this bottom shelf. So let me pull the books out real quick and I'll show you what they are. Okay, you can't see my bottom shelf, but I'm going to go through all the books that were on the bottom shelf of my book cart first. So the first book that I have is a book that if you've been watching my YouTube videos or TikToks or anything for a while now, you would know that I've been reading this book forever. The first one is It by Stephen King. We all know what this is about. Pennywise, Derry, the town is haunted, right? I read this 2 years ago. I started it, I got halfway through it, was gonna finish it this October, didn't even pick it up. So this is still just sitting on my cart. I will finish this one day, but right now is not that day. The next one is another Stephen King book, The Shining. I said this 2 years ago, I really wanted to read this book, and I still have not read this book. I will eventually, but just not right now. We know what this is about, right? Red rum, haunted overlook hotel. They have the thing called The Shining. Lots of murders. People go crazy. I will read this eventually. Next is a book that I have also started previously and never finished, and that is Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. When I first started the TV show, I bought this book. I got like 100 pages into it. This is such a floppy book. Oh, I love that. Okay. Anyways, never finished it. She's looking rough too. So she's been carried around places, thrown in the back of my trunk, things like that. I want to eventually read these books. Today is not that day, so it is still on the bottom of my TBR card. The next one is Red Rising by Pierce Brown, another book I'm really into, possibly reading. It's dystopian. I just haven't been in the mood to read it. I think they live not on Earth, like on another planet. The colors are like their caste system, and all I know is one of the guys in the books wants to break out of that. Nothing else, but it's been on my TBR for a while. Next, we have The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stief. I don't know how to say her last name, I'm sorry. I read The Raven Boys like years and years and years ago. I think I may have to go back and reread that one, but this is a series I definitely want to finish. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I have read like the first chapter of this before and then stopped. So Dream Thieves is on there. Next is a book I picked up actually pretty recently. It's The Whisper Man by Alex North. I don't know what this book is about, but I read The Shadows by Alex North last October and I really liked it. I actually will probably pick this up soon. The next time I'm in the mood for like a horror book, this will probably be what I go to. I really liked The Shadows, so I have no idea what this is about, but it's the same guy who wrote it, same author, so I picked it up just because I liked the first one that much. Next, we have The Box in the Woods. I've read the Truly Devious trilogy, and I actually just ordered this one. This will probably get picked up fairly soon as well, because I would like to read it. I know it's like a spin-off. It's not like the same trilogy, but it's the same characters, and I really like Truly Devious, so I'll probably pick this up pretty soon. Okay, so I am actually filming this at the end of November because I'm pre-filming these videos, and so this is a book that I might read in November, like before this video even goes up. It is on my November TBR. So I may pick this up well before this video goes live, but then there's a very high chance that it will not be read in November. So for now, I have 100 Other Girls on my TBR card. Next is a book I've owned for a while, Serpent and Dove. I honestly don't know if I'll read this at this point. Like, I have no interest in it, but it's there. If I ever get really bored, then I have a book, because I'm going to try and stop buying as many books and make my way through this cart. So yeah. I know it's like witch hunter kind of thing. I don't know what it's about. I just know it was huge on Book Talk when I bought it, and I never read it. So it's just on my cart. Next is a book that is on my December TBR, and that is Eileen. The author that wrote this book wrote My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which I still don't know if I love or hated, but it was interesting. So, and I've seen people talk about this being disturbing. So, and because there's like snow on it. That's why it's on my December TBR. Not because it's like a good Christmas feeling book, but because it happens in the Christmas season. So that's why this is on my TBR card. I've been saving it for December. Next, we have a book that all of Book Talk has read except for me. It is Shatter Me. Yeah, I do want to read this eventually. I just don't know if I'm gonna like them. So I only bought the first book, and if I like this one, I'll continue them, but I don't know if I will like these books, so it's been sitting there for a while. And then the last one that was on the bottom row is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Yeah, I want to read this eventually, and I originally wanted to do 12 classics this year. I want to do one every month, and that didn't happen, but I'm going to stick to that in 2023, so this will hopefully get read by then because I'm going to choose one classic to read every month. So that will be on one of the month's lists. Maybe February, because it is a romance. Alright, on to the second shelf of my TBR cart. We'll start over here. The first book that I have is The Gilded Wolves. This is also on my December TBR. I know it's a heist, and that's about it. I've seen people compare it to Six of Crows, even though everyone says it's not accurate. I think it's just because there's a large cast and a heist. It's in Paris, I think. And I want to get to this soon because it's been on my TBR for so long and I am very interested in it. For some reason I just haven't started it yet, so we're gonna read this in December hopefully. The next one we have is Aurora Rising. I read the Illuminae series. I didn't love it. It was a quick read. I picked this up when I was reading some sci-fi. I have not been into sci-fi lately, so it's just been on my TBR cart. Also, I don't know if I want to read this anymore, so we'll see if I ever do, but it's been on my TBR cart for well over a year. Next we have Strange the Dreamer. I read her series, what is it called? I know one of them is Dreams of Gods and Monsters. Oh, Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I read that trilogy a while ago and I picked this book up after I finished it. I know a lot of people love this book, but I have not gotten around to it because it's kind of big. And I don't know, I just haven't started it yet, and so it's just on my cart. The next one was a book that I had every intention of reading this summer, and then I didn't. I even took it on my cruise with me and never picked it up, and it is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I hear nothing but great things. My sister read it, my mom read it, my mom loved it. And I do like a good historical fiction, but I typically read these during the summer, so I still have not read it. It's also large, but I will eventually get to it, because I do think I will like this book. I just haven't had time. Next we have a book that I've had for well over a year still, and it is Furyborn. I've seen people talk about this on Book Talk and people do like this, but I have never picked it up. I just own it. I do love the cover, but it still has not been read, so there's that. Next we have We Hunt the Flame, which I honestly may pick up soon because this was on my 22 books to read in 2022 and I have still not read it, which makes me feel kind of bad about myself, so I need to pick it up soon. I've had it for a while and I've wanted to read it for a while because I hear nothing but good things. Also on my cart, something I'm not gonna read, but Kane's Jawbone. I wanted a copy of it just because I think that's like so fun, but I'm also stupid and would not be able to complete this. I was gonna make a YouTube video of attempting to complete the Kane's Jawbone mystery, but I don't think that'll happen, but honorable mention. Next we have Little Women. Okay, this is on my December TBR as well. Never read it, never seen the movie. Again, I'm trying to get through some classics, so it looks huge, but I know it'll be an easy read. So, Little Women. Next is a book I failed to read in October, and it was on my TBR, and it's We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. I do love Grady Hendrix. I don't know if I want to save this for next October, or if I just get into a horror mood, I will just pick it up, because I have not had a Grady Hendrix book let me down yet. This is another book that is on my November TBR, but I don't think I'm going to finish. I'm currently trying to make my way through the arc of A Day of Fallen Night, which is huge. So some of my November TBR books kind of got pushed to the side, but I did want to read it this month. Didn't get to it, so we'll just push it back again, and eventually I will read it. But it's the power. And then the last one on that shelf is Masters of Death, which I've had on multiple months TBRs and still have not gotten to. This is by Olivia Blake. I got it before it got published, so I do have this nice copy of it, and I love that there's, well, I don't see any in here, but I know there is some. Somewhere, yes. There, well, yeah. I love that there's artwork in these ones. I think even her published Atlas 6 has them, but I do like the artwork, so I have this. And then we just have my top shelf, which is stacked up, and a lot of these are hardcover books. So I'm gonna start with this like stacked into the back, and then we'll do the front. So the first one is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I thought I was gonna read this when it came out, and I didn't. So I don't know when I'll be in the mood to read this book. I like her other books, but I just have not felt drawn to it. Kind of getting squished back there. The next one is a classic that I'm going to read in 2023, hopefully in one of my months, and it is Count of Monte Cristo. It's the long version, not the abridged version. I don't know, it seems good and I've heard good things, so this is on my list, but I know that it's gonna take me forever to read, so it'll have to be like in the summer when I have time for it. Next is A Very Merry Bromance, which depending on when this goes up, I think my reading vlog is after this video, but if it comes before, you've already seen this. I am reading this in December, and I'm doing a reading vlog or review as one of my 12 Days of Bookmas videos, so I'm really excited about this book. It's killing me to wait, but it is Christmas themed, so I'm waiting till December to read it. The rest of that like back stuffed in section, we have Jade City, which is another huge book, which is why I'm scared to pick it up, but I've heard good things about it, so I do want to read it. But just not right now. I need to have a lot of time to take this in. Then we have Pandora's Jar, which I have read the first story in this. I'm not really like concerned about reading it that much. Just I'll pick it up when I want to pick it up. But I did read the first like story because it's set into sections of different women. And it's not really like a book. It's like more like analyzing women in Greek mythology. Next, we have Library of the Dead, which I had hoped to read this past October and I did not get to it. So I still have it. Don't really know what it's about, but the cover is very intriguing. So it's been on my TBR for a while. Next, this book was recommended to me. I probably would have never picked it up on my own, but it is Ender's Game. There's a movie. It's sci-fi. It seems fairly short, so I'm going to read this. Just, I'm not sure when. So that's the back stuff section. Now I'm going to go through these. And I'm going to start over here. So the first book is a book my dad actually gave me for Christmas last year, and I had every intention of reading it before this time, but I want to read it soon. This is, me and my dad like to watch Curse of Oak Island together. It's a TV show. They're looking for treasure on an island, and there was a historian. I think he's a historian. No, he's a journalist. Okay, there was a journalist who basically wrote this, compiling all their history that they had found from the island in their search of the treasure. And so this is just like the history of Oak Island and what they already know happened. And it's got like pictures from, or at least I thought, yeah, it has like pictures from all of their stuff. FDR, our president, went and searched for treasure here. So I am interested in this because I do really like the show, and I hope they find gold, and this gives more of like the background on like what could have possibly happened on Oak Island. So eventually I will read this. Okay, this is where an honorable mention comes in because I do not have them on my TBR cart. They are on my shelves, but everything after From Blood and Ash up until this book I have on my TBR. So I had Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, Crown of Gilded Bones as well. So those are also over there. I have a couple at the end that I'm going to talk about that are on my shelves that I didn't pull out, that are also on my physical TBR, but all of these books, I think I'm going to read them next summer. Then we have Crave by Tracy Wolff. I've had this book forever, still have not read it. Don't know if I want to read it, but I have it. I did love Twilight, and I feel like this gives those vibes, which is why I bought it, but I still have not read it, and I've had it for like 2 years, if not more. Oh, I do have 2 paperbacks slid in here. We have Things Fall Apart, which is a book that I partially read in one of my history classes in college, and I decided I wanted to read it. And this is technically a classic, so this will be a classic I pick for next year as well. Then I have A Clockwork Orange, like the movie, so I thought I'd pick up the book. That's self-explanatory. Then we have Foul Lady Fortune. I love these Violent Delights, so I did buy this book recently. I just haven't read it yet, but I mean, it's fairly new, so I have this book. Back to my Twilight. I never read Midnight Sun. Yeah, I read part of this at one point, so I still have it, and it's been on this cart for so long. Eventually I will read it. Eventually I will read it. We have A Lesson in Vengeance, which was also on my October TBR this last year, and I did not read it, so I'll get to it eventually. eventually I will read this. Then we have this Savage Song, which I kind of want to read soon. I've been working my way through V. Schwab's Backlist, and I finally did Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, and so I already have this one, and I want to pick this one up. And then the last one on my cart is The Ravens. It was also on my TBR in October, and I didn't get to it. But Sorority Girl and Witches, love that. There are a couple other books that are on my shelves that I didn't have the energy to pull out, so I'm just going to mention them now. Like, I have never finished The Bane Chronicles, Lady Midnight, Chain of Gold, and Chain of Silver. Is that what the first two are? I have both of those books. I've never read those. And then I still need to finish Touch of Malice. I started it and never finished it, so that's up there as well. And then I think the only other book that I have that's on one of these shelves that I have not read is Jane Eyre. I do have that as well, and I haven't read it, but I do plan on reading it, hopefully in my 12 classics for 2023. So I have quite a few books that I need to read, and I need to stop buying books and just read the ones I have, because clearly I have a lot. I'm going to count them all. And if I missed any, I'm just going to add them to the count. And this is the number of physical books I own that I have not read. So, oh, I also have War and Peace, but it's the Barnes & Noble, like, nice cloth bound version, and I've never read that. I don't know if I have the ability to read that, but I do have that one as well. So, I need to get to reading, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.